A young boy named Angus stumbles upon a strange stone-like egg. Curious, he uses a small knife to pry it open, only to discover that the surface suddenly begins glowing with a dazzling blue light. But just then, his mother calls him in for dinner. He quickly drops the knife and runs out, but the moment no one is around, the mysterious egg begins to move on its own. Later that night, after dinner, Angus returns to the shed, only to find that the strange stone egg has already cracked open. And if nothing else, that can only mean one thing. Something has come out. Not long after, Angus spots a smooth, slippery little creature hiding in the corner of the garden. Overcome with curiosity, he slowly reaches out to touch it. But in the very next second, the fierce little creature suddenly turns and darts straight into the grass. Startled, Angus rushes back into the kitchen. A moment later, he grabs a potato from a sack and hurries outside again. He cuts off a small piece and tosses it toward the creature. At first, the little monster cautiously leans in and sniffs it, making sure it's safe. Once it realizes there's no danger, it immediately starts devouring the food. Seeing how eagerly it eats, Angus quickly cuts off another piece and offers it again, slowly luring the creature closer. The creature remains wary, especially of the hand reaching down from above. It doesn't want to get too close, but in the end, it can't resist the temptation of food. As it comes forward to eat, Angus finally gets to gently touch its tiny head, and in that moment, trust is born between them. From then on, Angus gives the creature a name, Crusoe. He secretly begins feeding Crusoe leftover food from the kitchen, but to Angus's surprise, the little creature finishes everything in no time. Shocked, Angus quickly reaches toward him to stop him. "Come out, you'll be sick." But as soon as he reaches toward Crusoe, the creature nearly bites his hand. The moment Crusoe sees Angus's reaction, he immediately realizes he has done something wrong and quickly moves closer as if asking for forgiveness. Seeing that, Angus doesn't blame him. "That's a good boy. I'm sorry for grabbing." But as Angus gently pets him, he suddenly notices something strange. "You're all dried up." Without hesitation, Angus grabs a metal bucket and fills it with water. To his surprise, Crusoe happily jumps in and starts swimming around. From that day on, Angus secretly keeps the creature hidden inside the shed, until one morning, disaster nearly strikes. As Angus steps outside, he's horrified to discover that the handyman is carrying the bucket out of the shed. He rushes over to stop him, but it's already too late. By the time Angus reaches him, the man has already poured all the water out. "What are you doing? Why were you looking in the bottom? Did you see anything fall into it?" Seeing how nervous Angus is, the man asks what he's searching for. Afraid his secret might be exposed, he quickly lies his way out of it. Thankfully, the handyman doesn't think much of it and goes back to work. But what no one realizes is that Crusoe has already slipped into the house. Now he wanders around sniffing for food. Following the scent, he makes his way towards the kitchen, only to find himself face to face with the soldier's hunting dog. The dog stares at him fiercely. The moment Crusoe notices, he bolts. The dog chases after him, but luckily the leash around its neck stops it from going any further. Crusoe then casually scurries away. Meanwhile, Angus's sister Emily has just filled the bathtub with water. The moment she leaves the room to grab something, Crusoe sneaks inside. Still worried because he hasn't found the creature, Angus suddenly hears Emily scream. He instantly realizes it must be Crusoe. Rushing upstairs, he quickly pushes Emily back into the bathroom before she can run to her mother. Inside, Crusoe is perched on the edge of the bathtub. Angus hurriedly explains where he came from. Seeing how close her brother is to the little preacher, Emily slowly calms. Angus tells her that he saved Crusoe and begs her not to tell her mother. Without hesitation, she agrees. At the same time, her mother asks Lewis to repair the guest bathroom, claiming it has been broken for 3 days. But in reality, nothing is wrong with it. The brother and sister simply lied so they could keep Crusoe hidden in the bathtub. Soon, Lewis knocks on the bathroom door, saying he needs to come in and fix it. Angus says he's using it, but Crusoe's noises are loud enough for Lewis to hear. Lewis tells them to open the door or he'll tell her mother there's an animal inside. With no choice left, Emily opens the door. Lewis steps in, explaining he doesn't want trouble, he only wants to do his job. But the moment he sees Crusoe, he jumps in shock. Angus explains that it hatched from an egg he found by the river. Lewis stares at the creature in amazement. He carefully reaches out, wanting to touch its smooth skin. Angus stops him. He only lets people touch him if he likes him. Lewis then tells him that the creature resembles an ancient legend, a water beast. According to the story, only one can exist in the world at a time. When it grows old, it lays an egg and dies, which means every new creature is born an orphan. Just then, Mother calls for the children from outside. Angus begs Lewis not to tell her. If she finds out, she'll throw him away. Looking at the hopeful faces of the two children, Lewis finally agrees. Together, the three of them successfully keep the secret from Mother. Afterwards, Lewis gently suggests that Angus should release Crusoe into the lake. He can't spend his whole life hiding in a bathtub. The lake has plenty of water and lots of food, but Angus immediately refuses. He insists Crusoe is happiest with him. One evening, several military officers gather at the house for dinner, and Mother is invited to join them. While everyone is distracted, Crusoe quietly slips out once again. Suddenly, a delicious scent drifts into his nose. Curious, he follows the smell, slowly wandering through the house in search of its source. At that very moment, the hunting dog catches Crusoe's scent again. Its eyes lock onto him. The dog lunges forward, growling viciously. The instant Crusoe notices, he takes off running. The dog charges after him, and the two race wildly through the house. In the chaos, Crusoe darts beneath the dining table, trying to escape unnoticed, but the dog leaps right up onto the table, sending plates and food crashing everywhere as it continues the chase. "Come on, Keisha, get out of here. I just got back." The dog keeps chasing him all the way outside, but suddenly loses sight of him. What it doesn't realize is that Crusoe has frozen perfectly still inside the fountain, pretending to be one of the stone statues. After the dog finally leaves, Crusoe turns and notices something even more exciting. The pond beside the fountain is filled with fish. Without hesitation, he jumps straight in. At the same time, Angus is frantically searching for him. Lewis tells him that his mother is furious and orders him to go back to bed, promising that he will help find the creature. Reluctantly, Angus returns to his room. Still worried, he continues searching from the window until suddenly he spots Crusoe's silhouette in the fountain. But the moment he sees him clearly, Angus is stunned. Crusoe is now several times larger than before. It is clear that he must be taken to the lake immediately. Angus quickly wakes Lewis, and together they load Crusoe into the car and drive to the lake in the middle of the night. Lewis struggles to drag the growing creature into the water, but Crusoe refuses to leave Angus. In the end, Angus pulls out a potato and uses it to lure Crusoe farther into the lake. Even though it breaks his heart, Angus understands that keeping him close will only become more dangerous. The lake offers everything Crusoe needs: fresh water, freedom, and plenty of salmon to eat. For now, letting him go is the only right choice. After releasing Crusoe, Angus's life changes completely. Mother places him under the strict supervision of the soldiers in the house. From then on, every morning he is forced to train with the soldiers. By noon, he must help out in the kitchen. Every day becomes exhausting. Meanwhile, Crusoe is living freely in the lake, happily swimming and playing beneath the water. One day, Crusoe swims near the shore, clearly hoping to see Angus again. At that moment, Angus is busy polishing one of the officers' vehicles, but somehow he feels as if Crusoe is calling to him from the lake. Without a second thought, he drops the cloth and runs toward the shore. Once there, he shouts out for Crusoe, but the lake remains silent. There is no sign of him. Determined, Angus climbs into a small rowboat and paddles farther out, calling again and again. Still nothing. Just as disappointment begins to set in, something enormous suddenly rises behind him. Angus turns around, and his face lights up with joy. It's Crusoe. But now the creature is far larger than before, many times bigger than when Angus last saw him. Crusoe gently gestures for Angus to climb onto his back. He wants to take him for a ride. Terrified of water, Angus immediately clings tightly to the creature's body, squeezing his eyes shut. At first, he is too scared to even look around, but little by little his fear begins to fade. He starts noticing the breathtaking scenery around him. Sensing that Angus is finally relaxing, Crusoe suddenly dives deep beneath the water. A moment later, he bursts back to the surface so Angus can breathe, then dives again. Over and over, they repeat this motion. Before long, Angus no longer fears the water. He has finally overcome the barrier inside his heart. Instead, he becomes completely mesmerized by the beauty of the underwater world. Suddenly, a massive iron net appears ahead of them. Crusoe instantly surges upward, breaking through the surface to avoid it. He then carries Angus safely back to shore. But just as they arrive, Angus notices the family's hunting dog near the lake. In that instant, Angus realizes someone may be coming. Panicked, he urgently tells Crusoe to swim away, but it is already too late. One of the soldiers has seen the enormous shape moving in the water. That night back at home, Angus excitedly tells Emily and Lewis everything that happened. He enthusiastically describes how Crusoe took him across the lake and showed him the world beneath the surface. He speaks with so much excitement that he can barely stop talking. As the three of them sit together laughing, Mother quietly appears at the doorway. Seeing them smiling and enjoying themselves, a warm expression crosses her face. As she turns to leave, Lewis follows her outside, inside and asks if something is wrong. Mother smiles softly. Seeing the children happy fills her with joy. Ever since father left, especially for Angus, it has been a long time since there had been laughter in the house. Lewis gently suggests that she should spend more time with them.
Don't forget to like, comment, and share if you enjoyed the story. See you on next movie recap.